Welcome, guys. This is Two Guys in a Fire Pit, and this is our initial broadcast. I'm Gregory Turner, one of your hosts, and I got my buddy here.
I'm Eddie Murray. Glad to be here, Gregory.
Yep. We're looking at trying to start this out, and we're going to see where it heads. We're going to cover a wide variety of topics and, see what all we can pique your interest with.
We're going to bring to you some interesting information, everything from college football, which is one of our favorite things, to cooking, grilling, which we're both pretty accomplished at, and also current events and things that just get in our craw.
Which there's a lot of them, for sure.
For sure. So, Greg, let's talk a little bit about let's talk a little college football. Why don't we? Being that it's Saturday and we just got through watching some good games today.
Man, how about them dogs?
How about them, son?
That's all I got to say. How about them dogs?
They turned in a pretty good performance. It wasn't over the top, but I think they got a lot of things done that they wanted to today. Got some good work in, getting ready for Tech. Big rivalry game. Got a lot on the line.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested to see how that matchup's going to go. You know, that was a nail biter last year for sure. So
8 overtimes.
I think Tech's got a little bit better team this year than they had last year, and I'm kind of, we're interested to see how Georgia handles them this year. But I'm kind of curious about it, especially after the reservations that I had with the way that offensive scheme handled with Gunnar Stockton today. Focused on the run game a little bit more, and I'm kind of curious to see what kind of plan they dial up for next week.
Yeah, and to elaborate a little bit more about that game plan, I understand what Bobo and Kirby were thinking. They didn't want to get him hurt for sure, obviously, but they were concentrating on developing a run game, but also that whole theory of you don't want to put something on tape. Well, it's a whole season's worth of tape. We've already done everything. We've showed our hand in every game we played. I think a lot of it had to do with not getting injured, but also developing some confidence in the offensive line and quite possibly the running backs.
Man, talking about that offensive line, I mean, Bo Walker had holes all day. I'm glad that he got in for the first time of the season.
Yep.
You've seen very little of him. Very promising recruit coming in, and for the holes that he had to run through, and I mean, even
they were substantial.
Even the holes that he had, I mean, he was still making a heck of a cuts and getting downfield and 10 yards of carry. I mean, that's pretty.
It's pretty good, especially for a true freshman.
You dang right.
And just a side note, you may hear some sounds. We're right by the road, so you'll get an occasional car coming by. Just sort of where we're at out here in God's country.
So one of our favorite things is to just sit around and chill out by a fire, and that's why we're where we're at. We got a massive stump right here in the fire pit right now that we got going on, and sitting here and enjoying it. And I mean, like Eddie said, we out here in the middle of nowhere. We in God's country.
Yeah. Out here with a little bit of refreshing adult beverage and enjoying ourselves. Cooked some good chicken tonight. Kudos to Gregory, he cooked it. And college football is one of the things we talk about a lot. We're old school gamers, grew up on PlayStation, still play a little college football now and then. So comment below if you play CFB 26. Maybe we can get a game up if you'd like. But one thing I will say that this podcast is going to be an evolving life entity. The more we learn about in life, the more we'll bring to you. And make sure you subscribe, like, and hit that notification bell so that when we post new content, you'll be the first one to know.
And that's what we're all about. We're just trying to pique your interest. We're average, everyday guys that, a lot of times we get on these podcasts, these videos, and people don't talk about what's relevant to the average Joe. And that's what we want to focus on. We want to focus on our roots. Even things that we may not know a whole lot about, we're going to talk about. And hope that somebody can shed light on maybe some of the things that we're not necessarily experts at.
Yeah, we're not as well-rounded about certain topics. And we're doing this not only for our entertainment, your entertainment, we're doing it to learn. And I've always said, as a former teacher, and Gregory's a teacher now, if you're not learning something new every day, then you're falling behind.
That's for sure. That's for sure. My wife makes sure I learn something new every day.
Yeah, mine too. Mine too. But
mighty quick to correct me every single day.
It happens. And just wait till you get as married as long as me. It never changes. But yeah. So among other things, with the landscape of college football, with NIL and the portal, what changes do you think you foresee, Gregory? Do you think they'll put a salary cap? Do you think they'll make them sign a contract for the money?
Man, I hope they put a salary cap on it. I mean, I know that teams it's going to go back to exactly how it was back in the old day. If they put a salary cap on it, if they limit everybody to $20 million a year, they're going to be throwing money under the table, just like they used to do back before NIL was a thing.
Yeah,
was legitimate. They was putting money in
bags,
Burger King sacks, and everything else for these players. But while I think we see a much more level playing field nowadays, I think eventually they're going to have to, because your big name schools, your big money schools, they're going to continuously get bigger and bigger, while your Georgia Techs and all that, they're going to continue to struggle just because they don't have the same amount of money that these other schools have.
And I agree with you. I don't know if there is an answer, but what I don't want is to what we're starting to see, but what happened in Major League Baseball. You have teams like the Yankees and the Dodgers. They can just buy what they want. And it's difficult for these smaller market teams, i.e. smaller colleges, to match those funds.
That's an interesting dynamic there, the Yankees and the Dodgers, because they have the same exact premise. They're buying the best of the best.
Yep.
But what I don't understand is your Dodgers, they can win with them. Yankees, they can't.
Well, it comes down to chemistry, injuries, and pure luck, honestly. But, I digress. It is college football, and I still love it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'll watch it until I leave this earth.
Oh, I watch college all day long, every day. I don't care who plays.
Yeah.
I know that it's about the NIL, the money now, but college football is still college football.
It's still good. Still good to watch. Well, we watched a little bit of a few other games today. Interesting scores. I think Notre Dame really showed that they have a little bit of offense, and
Syracuse surprised me a little bit, because I didn't think they was that good, honestly. Yeah. And then, I thought Syracuse was a lot better team than what they showed today.
Yeah, and it is a one-time thing that you're looking at. Small scale, small sample size, so to speak.
Syracuse was on the road.
Yeah,
so that's a tough environment to play in.
Agreed. Wasn't too tough for Georgia.
Well, the first time they played, anyway.
That's right. But I will say this: when they put the college football playoff final rankings out, it's going to be interesting to see how much media bias and how much, I don't want to say blue blood-ish name recognition is going to play into it, but I have a feeling that Notre Dame will be ranked higher than they probably should be.
They usually are.
They usually are. I also wonder what the conference championships and how they're going to play out towards the CFP, and first round play, where they're playing at and stuff like that.
Yeah, and like I said a while ago, go Dogs. You know what I'm saying? Go Dogs. They're in a very interesting position right now with the playoffs.
Yeah,
they're ranked number 4 in the country, because especially the last 3 or 4 weeks, they've really turned it on. I told our other buddies that very first game when they played Marshall, I said, this might be the best Georgia team we've seen in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, they kind of let me down a little bit. They kind of got conservative, barely getting by. That kind of worried me a little bit. But the last 3 or 4 weeks, I think they've been a team that I thought they were initially, but they're in a position right now where they can potentially miss out on the SEC championship game, which, according to Kirby, is more important to him than the national championship. I ain't gonna say that I necessarily agree with that. I would love to win both.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong, but that national championship seems a whole lot better to me than the SEC championship. But they're in a position now where they may miss out on that SEC championship game and get a first round bye.
And that's kind of what I was talking about when it comes down to the conference championships. If, let's just say, Alabama and Texas A&M went out and they play, Alabama wins it. Do you give them a 4 seed or a 3 seed because they did win the toughest conference out there?
I think that all depends on the position that they're in going forward.
That's
true. I think Alabama, I don't know the exact rankings, what they dropped 10 or 11 after their loss to Oklahoma.
Yeah, I think something. It's around that area.
I find it very hard to believe that if they go to the SEC championship, still ranked 10 or 11, that they move up far enough to jump ahead of Georgia.
Yeah, I think it'd be extremely tough.
I think they would probably go in as a 5 or 6 seed,
and that's plausible.
As an SEC champion,
definitely. And if Texas A&M wins the SEC championship, they deserve to be a 2 or 3 seed, obviously.
Oh yeah.
I mean that they've run the gauntlet, which is probably one of the hardest things to do in the SEC is run the gauntlet. Look at Georgia did it in 2022, and that team was epic.
Yeah.
I mean that team was special.
That man, that was a different team there.
Wow.
I struggle to understand which one was even better though, 21 or 22, because
both of them were just dominant teams. And I tell you, when you look at the different parts of those teams, I think the 21 defense was special. I think it was better because we had a fledgling offense, and Stetson was still not quite into his own yet. He didn't have the confidence, but he was a different man in 22.
Oh, he refused to be beaten 22.
22 was a special full squad.
But they went undefeated in 21, didn't they?
No, sir, they lost to Alabama.
Okay, so which year did they go undefeated and win a national champion? That was 22?
22.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, that was a different team then. When you have two teams back to back that's that good, it's hard to distinguish between the two. But I think Georgia has a really good chance of making it back there.
I think that if we get the right draw and we play as we have been playing and we don't panic, I think that you're right. I think we have a really good chance of going to a long ways in the playoffs.
What I've seen over the past few weeks is, man, I tell you, I think right now the only team I don't really want to play is Ohio State, as much as I hate them. They're
loaded, and they are a good football team.
I mean, they're your Dodgers and your Yankees. They got the best of what you can buy.
Yep.
Right now.
The thing that we've always said though about the Big Ten, they usually have some pretty good teams, and Ohio State's been the outlier for the last couple of years.
Yep, everybody wants to get high and mighty on Indiana right now. I just don't think Indiana's got what it takes.
Who have they played?
Exactly.
The competition is a different level in the SEC.
And I mean, I know Oregon just had a big win over USC a few minutes ago, but I mean, Indiana's only real win is over Oregon. I'm not sold on how good Oregon is right now either.
I'm not either.
They they lost a lot of key offensive pieces, and while they're still putting up good numbers, they're also allowing a lot of yardage.
Yep.
And I mean, Dan Lanning being the defensive guru that he is, and still allowing the offense or yardage on his defense, I just don't know how good they really are.
It's going to take some interesting turns, I think. Speaking of interesting turns, let me interject here just a moment. What do you think about Kirby saying what he said about the physicality?
Man, I mean, I think that's what key Georgia is right now.
Yeah.
I think that's the main piece about Georgia is you going to have to be physical. You're going to have to be tough to come in and play Georgia and come out with a win.
That's right.
Because they don't let up.
Nope, they don't quit. You're going to have to take it from them because they sure ain't going to give it to you.
I mean, you got these guys that are coming in. Half the team is freshmen. I think they got 46, 48% of the team is freshmen right now. So you got a lot of young starters. And these young starters are coming out drilling people.
Well, they've played the gauntlet of the SEC, and it's turned them into no longer rookies, as Kirby would like to say. And he said it many times, that once they get past the 8th or 9th game, they're not freshmen anymore. They're players.
And they talk about this, you want to go somewhere that's not physical, we want to schedule you.
Yeah, I think
we actually prefer to schedule you,
Yeah.
And
that says a lot about the mentality of that team, is that old saying about it ain't the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog.
Yeah. And I mean, Georgia's got a lot of size now, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not a very big guy, and I'll sit there and look at them dudes, and I'm like, yeah, that's some big old guys
Well,
right
I
there.
am a big old guy, and I look at them and say the same thing.
So they got some dudes on that team.
They got some dudes.
But them dudes also got a lot of fight in them.
They do.
2-3 years ago, there was this pictures going around of X-rays of people's rib cages and chests and all that. You can see a big old bulldog right there in the center of them.
Yeah.
They got them dogs in them.
They got them dogs in them. That's right. Well, college football is not the only thing we're interested in. Obviously, we're just good old boys out in the country. We like to hunt, like to fish, like to have a good time. But we also take a serious turn, and especially the older we get, the more reflective we are upon things we've done in the past. And, we see the way our world is now, and there's a lot of things going on in this country that I don't necessarily agree with. Let me rephrase that. There's a ton going on in this country that I don't necessarily agree with, but I will say this: it's still the greatest country on this planet. And the fact that people have the opportunity to do what they want to do, worship how they want to worship, make their own living, it still says to me a lot that we take it for granted a lot of times.
Yeah, I think so too. Still fighting this dang sinus infection. I keep coughing. Can't catch my breath. But excuse me. Nowhere else in the world, literally in the world, can you sit outside of your home around a fire pit, enjoying a good drink, talking about what's important to you, and enjoying life just how it is. I mean, people fuss, people complain. Your left wings, your right wings, they all say that this is just a terrible place to be because of the disagreements that they have with each other. But if you truly sit down and you focus on your life, your individual life, what you have, your family, your home, the freedoms that you have, there's no other place in the world you can do this.
Nope. I agree 100%. And I want to take just a minute to say thank you to all the servicemen and women out there who have provided this for us and continue to fight to provide this for us. We appreciate everything you do. And, there's a lot of things that we see every day in this little corner of the earth that we call home that may not mean a lot to others, but mean a lot to us. And I can say without any concern that I am thankful for everything I've been given: blessings, friends, help. It all means a lot to me to be able to do, like you said, sit out here by a fire pit, enjoy a beverage, talk about whatever crosses our mind, and not have to worry about going to jail for it, or getting kicked out of a country for it, or even losing my life for it. So, extremely thankful.
That's a lot of things that I try to teach my kids at school, still being a teacher and all that. Especially this week, the week of Thanksgiving, we've really focused in on, what are things that they can be thankful for. And so most majority of the kids took it serious, and, they really provided some good, reasons why they were thankful for their life and the things in it, especially being underprivileged like the kids that I teach. But I think they still don't have a grasp on the reality of what they truly have, even though it may be small.
Yeah.
Um,
Good thing that comes with is maturity and age.
Right, because you sit here and you kick back and you look around, and I mean, right now, I mean, we're out here in the middle of nowhere. You might see a car come by every 10 minutes, if that. Got a house, a bathroom, running water, all the food you can eat, and these people in this world don't have that.
There's people in our own communities that don't have that.
Yep.
So it's everywhere, but yeah. Well, I will say this. Our world and our country has a lot of healing to do. And the only way that that's going to happen is if people actually care about each other and care about other people besides themselves. And that's one of the biggest problems I see today is selfishness and a concern or less concern for their fellow man.
All day, every day, man. It's all about me. All about me.
Yep.
It don't matter who you are, where you're at. If you got 300 people in a room, you might find one that's not all about me.
It's bad.
And that's one of the biggest things that I see every day that I try to point out. Because the moment that you don't stop to help the person at that time that they think they deserve it,
100%.
It's shame. They shame you.
Yes.
They put shame on you. They put, they try to discredit you, whatever they can to put you down because you didn't stop what you were doing for them at that moment.
That's right. And it's almost like a disease. It's hard to break a habit. Now, I mean, you do have to put yourself first sometimes, and that's part of human nature. But you also have to look at how that affects other people around you. And as a father, I have 2 kids. I've tried to instill in them that think of your fellow man, think of your friends, your family, think about them before you think about yourself. And a lot of times we don't, and I'm guilty of it just like everybody else. Sometimes I'm selfish as all get out, but I try not to be. And I think if you can learn from that, it goes a long way.
Yeah, there ain't no doubt about that because at the end of the day, the only person that can make the choices to make your life better is yourself.
That is
and
gold, brother.
Majority of the time, that comes from thinking of others before you think of yourself.
Yep.
Just like you just said, when you begin to say, hey, my choices affect other people more than I realized it does. And then you begin to reflect on those choices and make decisions based on how it could affect other people.
100%.
Well, I mean, like I said, sometimes it's right to be selfish. But depending on the type of choice you're trying to make, whether it's where do I move to, or what piece of land do I buy, or is it financially responsible of me to go and buy this new cooler?
Yeah.
All those choices matter, but at the end of the day, they may matter to other people more.
That's right.
Because if I'm going to spend $400 on this brand new cooler, that may be $400 that I could have spent on groceries or necessities for my family.
That's it. It's all about growing up and being mature enough to see the forest, not just the tree.
Right. And you look around, there's a lot of trees around here.
There's quite a few, but not quite as many as there was before the hurricane.
Oh Lord, don't get me started on that. But yeah, you got to understand when making choices that, while being selfish is okay sometimes, at the end of the day, you still got to make the choice for the greater good.
That's it. It's all about what's good for the gander, not the goose. So, with that being said, we will be doing more of these podcasts, and this is our first one, so bear with us. We'll be discussing other things. We'll even have a few guests from time to time, have a nice conversation and libation. We'll be on site and on location sometimes, going to different things and talking to different folks and getting their spin on things. We'll also have some special features. One of the ones we have is going to be called, the name's a working title, but Grind My Gears. What grinds your gears? So put down in the comments some things that bother you. Let us know. Maybe we take a spin on it, give you a different perspective. That's all I have for this episode. Gregory, you got anything else you want to add before we close it out?
Man, I got all kinds of stuff. I don't want to keep this first episode going too long. We want to focus on what's important. We want to get ideas from you, what you think's important. Ideas on where you think we should go from here. What you think's best, and things that interest you, because that's what we're all about. And outside of that, that's really all I got tonight. And hopefully you catch us a week from now, and we can start start new again and go from there.
Yep, and hopefully a Georgia win.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
You know.
See y'all next time.
Yep. 2 guys in a fire pit out.
Oop, I think I cut it off before you got that in there. Let's see what it looks like. Maybe it filmed.
Dude, I hope so.
Yeah, because I don't know if I could say all that again.